Laura, you are to be commended on that outstanding reading of a passage that had lots of hard words in it. Thank you for that. And lest there be any doubt at all, Doug may flee from bees, but not the love of God. Just to make sure we understand that. I have to be honest with you this morning. This is not the kind of passage a preacher goes, oh, goody. Weeks and weeks ago, as your clergy were gathered to look ahead to upcoming sermon series, we thought, or Michael, I think it was actually Doug who thought, that the gospel lectionary readings would make a fine series for September. As I opened up today's reading and read it, I thought, really? Really, God? Have you not checked the calendar? This is United Methodist Women's Sunday. There are advantages and disadvantages to using the lectionary for our sermons. The advantage is it forces us to delve into passages of Scripture we might not otherwise, because they're just so difficult. The disadvantage is it forces us to delve into Scripture we would not otherwise. But upon reflection, this is the perfect passage for United Methodist Women's Sunday. You've heard it. There are a couple of things that are particularly difficult and even disturbing about this passage. We may never understand exactly why Jesus, upon encountering this woman, made the reference to dogs. Really, God? We may never quite understand why Jesus ordered the man and his friends to tell no one about that healing. Really, Jesus? These things are perplexing, yet I hope we will leave today with a better understanding and even with inspiration from this odd passage, this passage that is the gospel message. This we do know. The woman was not going to take no for an answer. She loved her child, and she was willing to beg for help. This we know. The healed man and his friends, who also begged for help, could not contain their joy. These are two stories that open our eyes to two things. They both take place on the other side of the tracks, so to speak, in Gentile territory. Why was Jesus willing to go there over and over, back and forth? Why not stick to his own people? Wasn't there enough healing to do among the Jews, the chosen? It kind of makes me wonder exactly who the chosen were and are. It almost seems as though Jesus chooses everyone, even the other, the one not like him, the one least like him. In both stories, the ones in need are not the ones who approach Jesus. The ones in need are aided by others. The mother pleads for her daughter's release from demonic possession. The deaf man is brought to Jesus by friends. In these two stories, it is not the faith of the persons with disabling conditions, but the active faith of the ones who walk alongside them that brings about healing. So, friends, What does this have to do with us on UMW Sunday? As Barbara Brown Taylor, Episcopalian priest and theologian, says, God comes to us daily in unexpected encounters with unexpected people. And if we are on the ball, we will not ignore them. We might even say God places us in desperate encounters with desperate people. This is part of the purpose of United Methodist Women, to encounter God through unexpected people, to hear their desperation, to take them and their causes to Jesus, that their lives may be changed. The funny thing is that, yes, their lives may be changed, but so are the lives of those who hear the pleas and take the action. I have the great honor of working directly with our United Methodist Women. I am present as the UMW board agonizes over how to employ resources to help people in need. This year they articulated that they particularly wanted to help vulnerable women and children. Every month, the UMW supports and invites the whole church to help them walk alongside these mission posts. The River, a ministry and mission of First Presbyterian Church just a few blocks from here. Safe Passage Domestic Shelter, East Tennessee Christian Home and Academy for Girls, Northside School, Agape Women's Services, and the Melting Pot. I am going to make a bold statement right here and now, and some of our dear United Methodist women are going to wince that I am saying this publicly. I may not be invited back to another board meeting, but I am so proud of them for hearing a particular need and wanting to meet it. They want to live out Barbara Brown Taylor's statement about not ignoring the unexpected people, even desperate people. Do you know, can you imagine how humiliating it is for a young woman to have to turn to someone she does not even know and say, I need feminine hygiene products? That is not an easy thing to do. That is a humiliating thing to do. Those products are not cheap, and they are not covered by food stamps. Did you know that? Neither is toilet paper. She is in desperate need, and on top of that, the one or maybe two pairs of underwear she has are soiled. This is a need our United Methodist women have identified and heard and are now meeting and asking you to help them meet for women who come through our melting pot. Our UMW is bold enough to say, this is a need. Just like the Syrophoenician woman was bold enough to say, this is my need, Jesus, and I am not leaving until you meet it. I believe you can, and I am expecting you to do that. And Jesus responded. At a time when others are pleading with Jesus as they deal with health issues and end-of-life issues, one of our UMW circles spends hours knitting prayer shawls. Prayer shawls that are tangible reminders of God's promise to be present when life is difficult. It is a sweet, sweet blessing for us as your clergy to take these to our members who melt into them as though they are melting into the arms of God. The circle also knits prayer shawls for newborns, tangible reminders of God's promise to be present when life is new. This difficult passage confronts us with the imperative to have courage, to be women who beg on their daughter's behalf, to be friends who beg on others' behalf. This difficult passage also confronts us in another way. It implores us to look through the eyes of the observers, not just to be the woman or the friends, but to be those who witness the encounter, to allow ourselves to stand in their sandals for a moment. We don't know why Jesus, a Jew, said to a Gentile woman that children were to be fed before dogs, meaning that the Jews came ahead of the Gentiles. She would not give up, and she retorted, "Oh, Jesus, the dogs, the Gentiles, eat the crumbs of the children. They are to be fed too," she said. Jesus commended her need and met it. But the observers, the Jews who were with Jesus and saw this encounter, how did they respond? As Jesus said, the Jews come ahead of the Gentiles. Did they say, "That's right, Jesus, you tell her, we're the privileged ones. She and her people are beneath us"? Society had told her that. They had told her that all her life. But when she would not let it go, Jesus said to her, "Good answer. You are right. Gentiles count. You count. Everyone counts." Maybe Jesus set up this encounter so he could make that point. We just don't know. It makes us cringe to hear Jesus make reference to dogs to indicate some are above others. We have to be sure we are not on the sidelines saying, "That's right." This passage is our call. That's what's so difficult about it. It is a confrontation for us to look at ourselves and to look at others and to see who is above whom, to see who counts and who does not, to see whose needs should be met and whose needs do not matter. Does anyone not count? Does anyone's need not matter? Jesus said to the man whose ears were deaf, "Ephphatha, be opened." Mark reports that the man's ears were opened, his tongue was released, and he spoke plainly. So to pull all of this together, may our hearts be opened, that we may hear the needs of others and speak plainly on their behalf. May we act boldly because everyone matters. There are needs to meet that require courageous women and men to pick up the cause of others, to be like that woman and not take no for an answer, to be like that man's friends who could not contain themselves when told to keep quiet. May this be the day when we not cringe, but embrace this difficult passage and make it our clarion call, that we will be open to unexpected encounters with unexpected people, that their lives, and maybe even ours, be transformed. May we be inspired by the desperate people we encounter today. May we be inspired, and maybe, may we inspire. Let us start by joining our voices and our hearts in the unison prayer that is in your order of worship. Loving God, give us a pure heart that we may see you, a humble heart that we may hear you, a heart of love that we may serve you, a heart of faith that we may live in your will each day. Create new hearts of love and service in each of us today, tomorrow, and in all of our tomorrows.